Hello, my fellow foam flinging enthusiasts. Welcome to the Foam Zone. I am your host, Andrew, aka Dart Sweep, and welcome to another full, fun-filled foam flinging episode of the Foam Zone. In case this is your first time joining us and you have no idea what we are doing, the Foam Zone is our bi-weekly live streaming show that is exclusive to the World Foam Alliance YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and also please subscribe. And if you have not done so already, also please join us on the Discord. And also, if you have not done so already, please register yourself on the worldfoamalliance.org website. We should be going live at the beginning of the year, so that should be extremely exciting. So the Foam Zone is our bi-weekly live streaming show where we interview guests that are in the hobby just to get to know them a little bit better and discuss everything that's foam flinging related and sometimes more, but mostly foam flinging related. Tonight we also will be doing a giveaway, of course. We will be giving away some stickers from our guests as well as a World Foam Alliance t-shirt. So we'll be doing a trivia question, something along the lines of what was our guest's blaster that got them into the hobby. So, and with that being said, I'm curious, what was the blaster that got you into the hobby? If you'd like to comment, please go ahead and do so down in the live chat section. I'd love to see what you guys have to say about that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest for this evening, someone who I know from Facebook personally. We share many of the same Facebook group chats. It's always a pleasure to see whenever they have a post. They are one of the admins for the Mid-Valley Nerf Club in Texas. They also are a hobbyist, collector, historian, and podcast host for I'm so sorry for what was the name again?
Foam After Dark.
Foam After Dark, that's right.
Yeah.
Foam After Dark. And I'm sure you know who it is just by that much. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest for the evening, BotsNBlasters.
What's up, everybody?
Bots, how are ya?
Good, man. Good. Glad to be on the show.
I'm excited to have you. I've been following you, of course, on Facebook, and love the YouTube channel. And also the podcast seems to be really taking off. So really excited about that. So, but yeah, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit of your background.
All right. Sure. So, as you may or may not know, my name is Bots, aka BotsNBlasters. That's my YouTube channel. I make content on YouTube, which you are currently watching, as well as Twitch, which is kind of odd because not a lot of people go on Twitch. That's a side tangent. I also make content for Instagram, and I guess TikTok, kind of. I mean, I think we all kind of have content on TikTok. I don't know how regularly we check it, though. And yeah, I got into the hobby around 2016, but that wasn't my first entry into it. 2016 is when I got serious about it. And yeah, that's about all I'll say for there. Otherwise, I'll cut into other topic ideas.
No worries. So yeah, as I mentioned before, if there's anything you'd like to ask or a comment, go ahead and drop that down in the live chat comment section. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. And as I mentioned before, what was your first blaster that got you into the hobby? And we'll be getting that information from Bots as well. And like I said, that's probably a pretty good hint to what the trivia question will be coming up later on in the show. So, but yeah, so tell us exactly how you were introduced to the hobby and how you actually got involved in the hobby.
Well, it's going to kind of sound backwards because in 2009, is when I was first exposed to nerfing as a concept. And I was a club organizer for the University of Texas Pan American, which is a local university down here. And I was actually a club organizer that was running a LARP for essentially, it was kind of like a Men in Black type of thing. And one of the players had come up and they're like, hey, I got this blaster. Check it out. It lights up. Can I use this as my prop for my Men in Black, like rifle, whatever? And I was like, you know what? I like that. Well, long story short, he ended up taking it apart to paint it because there's certain requirements for, like that to be painted a certain way. And he couldn't get it back together. So he called me to go and help him. I couldn't get it back together. So we started looking on YouTube. And, well, that's the rabbit hole. That's the rabbit hole that we all tumbled down.
YouTube is a very dangerous rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So you basically started out kind of being a LARPer, and then that led you to trying to do some aesthetic modification, and that got you into the hobby then.
Yeah, it kind of all went like backwards. Like I said, most people, at least from the people that I've talked to, they've started with nerfing. They've kind of like progressed into LARPing. I kind of went the opposite direction.
That's funny. And what is it that actually drew you or attracted you to the hobby in general? Like, what made you stay? What made you fall in love with it?
To be blunt, it's just the sheer variety of skills. I mean, this is the only hobby that I've been associated with where you can learn like soldering, painting, programming if you're getting involved with like Arduinos or whatever. And of course, what I feel is the most important, repurposing of blasters, because if there's one thing I really dislike, it's to see waste for no reason, And I really like that as a hobby, at least early on, we would repurpose all our blasters, just the integration, sleeper builds, etc. And I fell in love with that aspect, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching, I'm kind of curious if you want to comment down in the live chat section if you are familiar or have any experience with doing LARPing and nerfing, foam flinging as well. So if you have done either or both at the same time, go ahead and let us know about it. Would love to see what you guys have to say. What would you say your overall approach or philosophy to foam flinging would be?
My overall approach to foam flinging is kind of like very, there's a story to go along with it, but I don't know if you want me to get into the story.
Yeah, get into it. Okay. We got time. We're just getting started.
Okay. In 2014, I was part of a group called the South Texas Nerf Wars, and I'm not going to name the person who was running that group because we kind of had a falling out, but the club itself was fine. But basically, he decided to move away, and we had wanted to take over running that organization. He was like, no one else can run Nerf clubs down there unless it's under my banner or whatever. And actually, it wasn't until I saw Captain Xavier's video where he's like, no one can tell you how or when to play. And I was like, you know what? That's not my philosophy on nerfing now. It's like no one has the right to tell you how to play, or that more importantly, that you're playing wrong. Because I know that's been a hot button issue that's been like thrown around the community a lot. And
yeah,
also a side tangent is save the drama for your mama, which basically is like, we're here to nerf, we're here to fling foam, save the drama for off the field.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Talanax Armory came out with a great video, but he, touched upon gatekeeping and things of that nature, and sometimes that happens. But what would you say is a good way to combat that, or what when that comes across? What's the best approach to gatekeeping? Would you say?
In regards to gatekeeping, I mean, it depends on the situation, but generally, like if that person is gatekeeping you and telling you, well, you can't play this way, then you know what you do. You start organizing meetings without that person being there, and you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because no one has the right to tell you what to do in your own backyard, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're from Texas, and there's a bunch of groups there. You guys are pretty spoiled with foam flinging opportunities in Texas, it sounds like. So I'm just curious about everyone in the live chat, where you guys are located, where you guys fling foam, or if you're from the Texas area, where you guys go play play Nerf at. So if you're from the Texas area, shout out your club. Let us know where you play at. You sort of said this already with why you enjoy the hobby, but aside from the modification and versatility and things that you can actually do, what are some other things that you love and attract you to the hobby in general?
To be blunt, the people. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. Like the community here is just great. I mean, I think everyone's run into one or two people that they clash with, but I've always had the fortunate circumstance of being like, it's a clash that is still respectful. And I've never run into somebody that's a direct, like, get out of my face type of thing. Everyone's been cool. Everyone's been legit. And even if you don't agree with somebody, you can still respect them. And that's what's important to me.
For sure, absolutely. So at this time, I would like to invite anyone that would like to call in. We'll pop up the number for you in just a second, but I would invite anyone that is interested in calling in to ask bots any questions. Please do so. Also, this will be the number to call in for our trivia question once we ask it later on in the show. So please give us a ring. I would love to hear from you. Also, give us those thumbs up. Give us a like. Also, please share this to everyone that you know, your friends, family, neighbors. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to get the word out there and spread the love and passion we have for this hobby. And we need your help to do it. So please go ahead and share this to everyone that you know. Also, if you haven't done so already, shameless plug again, please go ahead and join and register the worldfoamalliance.org website and also join the Discord. So let's talk a little bit about your club. You are one of the club admins for Mid-Valley Nerf Club, which is located in Texas. Talk a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, so the MVNC, or the Mid-Valley Nerf Club, is located in South Texas, specifically 4 hours south of San Antonio. So that's like right along the Mexico border. And we are like a whole different, like, world away, literally. Like down here, we almost can't have 3D printed blasters because if we leave it in the car for like 20 minutes, it'll wilt.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if we do have a 3D printed blaster, it's like you're almost like sleeping with it because it has to be climate controlled. But yeah, aside from that, I'm the quartermaster, which is basically means I'm responsible for safety. Also, checking, hey, is this blaster hitting too hard, too soft? I mean, mainly because I have a crony, so I'm the one in the group who checks that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said you kind of evolved into that role.
Yes, that's entirely true. I was very worried in regards to myself because I had already made a YouTube channel at the time. I didn't want it to be like, this is Bots' Nerf Club, and if you have a problem with bots, you can't go to that Nerf. And like, no, this isn't mine. I'm just helping out here. I'm just a normal player, other aside from the fact that I have the right to say, hey, I don't think FVJs or something should be, flinging at little kids or whatever.
Right. And what's the age groups?
Typically, we have our ages from 14 up. However, we do have a rule, which is if somebody is under 18, the parent has to take the field with a minor. And that's just mainly to prevent people from doing stuff like dumping their kids there where they want to go to the mall or a movie or something. It's like, no. You're gonna stay here with your kids. You're gonna fling foam together and you're gonna have fun.
You're not a babysitter.
Yeah, exactly. We're not your babysitters.
Or if you pay us a little bit more, maybe we'll consider. What's your FPS cap?
Our FPS cap is about 200. iPro required, of course.
Sure.
But we do have certain game. Usually, it's the last game of the day. We'll do 300 FPS cap.
Oh, fun
for the big kids. So we definitely have a lot more competitiveness. My friends, I'll just go ahead and shout them out now in the Space City Foam League. They've been kind of helping us push that more competitive edge. They've been doing some training and trials and stuff, drills that you can do to kind of better your performance. And we've been, kind of, I don't want to say like emulating them, but definitely learning from them.
Cool. And what type of competitive or training is that toward, more King of the Hill or Ion Rush, or what kind of game style is that geared towards?
Well, this is more geared towards, I guess, like I guess the professional a foam pro tour style of play.
Okay.
With the covers, advancing, maybe like Ion Rush. Stuff, game modes like that. Stuff like utilizing cover, advancing, being able to keep suppression while still advancing yourself. Stuff like that.
Cool. Awesome. And then what kind of general game types are you guys playing at the club?
Well, at the club, we do a little bit of everything. I mean, like everyone has their warm-up rounds. You have your pistol rounds, you have your juggernaut rounds, your medic rounds, capture the flag, etc. We have a really fun game mode that we call I think we call it detonation, where we have like 2 buzzers on each side of the team, each side of the team's bases, and players have to go there and just slam the buzzer, and it's a loud, annoying like boom, and everyone knows. Hey, your base just got exploded.
Sure. And are you guys in a public park or a private area? Or yeah.
Well, at least where we play, I feel that public play is very important for no other reason than how can people know about the hobby in general?
Sure.
If they don't see people actively playing it. Because, I mean, speaking objectively, people can talk on the internet and on YouTube about, hey, go to your local club. Well, how do you know where local club is?
Right.
Like, yes, I know there's websites like Dart Sweep. I think Luke was doing one for a while. I think he's kind of like let go of that. But if you're brand new coming in, you just bought our Nexus Pro from Walmart, you don't know where to go. You don't know who to look for.
Right. Well, we're hoping that the World Foam Alliance will help out with that. So
yeah, absolutely.
And then, so I'm just curious also for people that are watching, what are some of your favorite game types that you play at your clubs? If you have any, just go ahead and leave that down in the live chat. We mentioned this before, but or you mentioned it, but you kind of go all around Texas or wherever you can to attend different events. What are some of the other clubs that you attend in the area?
Well, one of the ones that's 2 hours north of us is Corpus Christi Nerf. The admins at the moment are a young kid. I say young kid because he was a kid at my games, and now he's running Club of his own over there. And that's a Samson 7180, aka the Speed Nerfer. If you know who he is, you know who he is. And also a gentleman by the name of David Mendoza. He's also helping us keep that going. They're a very competitive group, but a very fun-loving group too. Let me see. Oh, originally the group was run by Dr. J, but he's moved up to Washington, so you guys might see him if you're in the Washington area at some of those wars.
Yeah, everyone seems to be in that Pacific Northwest area these days for some reason.
I even asked him when he was moving. I was like, "Are you going there just for the nerfing?" He's like, "No, it's for work. I swear."
And I meant to do this at the beginning of the show when you came on, but props to your T-shirt.
Yeah, Foam Blast.
Love it. Absolutely. Shout out to Foam Blast. So like I said, if you guys have any questions or comments or you'd like to call in, please call in and give us a ring. Number should appear at the bottom. We'd love to hear from you. I'm sure Bots would love to chat with you as well. So please give us a ring. Even if you have nothing to say at all, it's all good. So what are some of your favorite game types that you play?
In regards to myself, I just mainly like objective-based stuff. I find like team deathmatch or games like that. I personally find them boring because it just becomes a game of attrition.
Right.
I like objective-based stuff where you don't have to be the fastest or have the highest FPS on the field in order to win. So stuff like Capture the Flag is very enjoyable to me. I also enjoy game types like Humans versus Zombies, of course. I actually did go to 2016's NVC, which was Nation versus Zombies, before they did the big name change and that whole shebang. So that was a lot of fun. I haven't been back to one since work situations and stuff. But yeah, I've pretty much anything that's objective based, I really enjoy. I'm very objective focused, and anybody who's probably fun with me can tell you that I get a bit too objective focused, where I'm being like, why are you suppressing this person? The point is over here. Move to the point.
Yeah, if you've ever been to any of the Maryland games, you probably have heard someone yelling, "Play the objective!"
Yeah,
and it's it could be me. It's definitely me yelling at you. But so I think we actually have a caller. So let's bring on our first caller. Who do we have?
Hey, what's up? It's Danny, thirsty for foam.
Danny Pack,
Hey,
aka Thirsty for Foam. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. You guys seem lonely, so I thought I'd call in.
Good. You got a birthday coming up.
Yeah. We're gonna have a little mod get together here at the house.
Very
probably three
cool.
people coming over, really.
Very cool. Just so you guys know, Danny Pack, aka Thirsty for Foam, is one of the admins for the Richmond Nerf Club down in Richmond, Virginia. So if you get a chance, check their club out. Also a fantastic modder integrator and loves that polycarb barrel. So if you're ever interested, hit up Danny Pack for that. But what do you got going on, brother?
I guess I don't know. Let's see. Bots, are you gonna be going to Maryland Mayhem?
At the moment, no, I don't have any plans for moving because we are just we're just finishing up a move, so I don't have any plans for any events for the remainder of 2023. 2024, different story, maybe.
It's in 2024.
Nice. Okay,
I think it's
I'll
in April.
look into that. I will have to look into that. If everything goes well, we'll see.
Yeah, you should definitely come to Maryland Mayhem, especially since I'm one of the organizers. So.
Okay, I have an in already.
Yeah, I only got to go to one day last year. I'm planning on trying to go multiple days, if not all 3 days, this next year.
What day did you end up going?
I went to competitive day, which was fun. You know, I really was missing the third day where you guys got to play diverse types of games. Was just like a ridiculous amount of people, probably, than what you're used to playing those games.
It definitely was chaos.
That's the day I really missed. Yeah, Sunday was the day I really missed. And plus, there's times probably that you could have probably just hung out. You know, competitive was kind of like everybody in the competitive scene was probably just concentrated on that. You couldn't really mingle with them, but so much. But Sunday probably was a cooler hangout day. So that was the day I really missed.
Right. Yeah, no, 11th hour definitely was chaos. Well, I like to think it was a little bit organized chaos, but the footage speaks for itself. So I don't know. Danny, just since we have you on here, I'm just curious, and we were talking about blasters that got you into the hobby. What was one of the blasters that got you into the hobby?
Oh, you know, my son was the one that got me into the hobby, mainly just, you know, that was the reason I purchased blasters. But I mean, the first thing I tried to mod was a retaliator because it jammed. So, you know, and then you start looking up, like, how do I open this? And, you know, nowadays, unlike when I was a kid, you have YouTube. And then, I mean, start seeing all sorts of stuff. And then from there, I'm like, maybe I will try that thing. I fixed it right away. But then you started seeing things like full breaches or just even doing double springs and different things like that. And I just kind of took off from there.
Right. Very cool. Well, last question I have for you, Danny, unless you have something else you want to ask
Role
Bots.
reversal.
Do you have any more questions for Bots?
No, that's it. I'm hoping to see him in person sometime. That would be really cool. Because, you know, for me, like, you know, I like modding, but, you know, and I like games, but sometimes it's just a camaraderie, just people into the same thing as you.
For sure, absolutely. So my question for you, Danny, are you liked and subscribed to Bot's channel and podcast channel? That's the most important question.
Not his podcast. I don't.
Wrong answer, Danny. You know what you got to do right now.
But I've been on his YouTube for years now. I think.
I was going to say
that's half the battle, Danny.
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, we've interacted on some live streams of his own.
Cool. Well, in the words of our good friends Al the Geek and Captain Xavier, get off my lawn. They're gonna charge me for that. So, but we'll work out the details later. It looks like we have another caller as well. Welcome, caller. Who do we have?
Hello.
Hello. Who do we have?
I'm General Strife.
General Stripe, what's up, buddy?
What's up? How are you?
Good. How goes it?
Not too bad, but I have a question for bots.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, how do you upload so frequently? Because sometimes I'm just not in the right headspace because I've uploaded so constantly, and I've just ran out of ideas sometimes. Like, how do you just have the right headspace to upload so frequently?
Well, I know we're going to talk about content creation a little bit further down, but to give you a little bit of a spoiler, there's a thing called workflow. Essentially what workflow is it means the day that I feel like working, I film 5, 6, maybe 8 videos during that one day. Then I edit them throughout the week, maybe the next 2 weeks. And then whenever I'm ready to upload them, I just schedule them, and then they go live whenever I want them or need them to go live. It's about working when you feel the inspiration, the motivation to work. It's not about forcing yourself to, because if you force yourself to, not to offend anybody, but your work is going to seem very dry, very boring, and very bland. Yeah, hope that helped.
Yeah, that's a great
really
answer. I think we talked a little bit about it on the Get Off My Lawn last week, but how do you avoid burnout? And yeah, you really just kind of have to do it for yourself and find what works for you. At a certain point, you'll hit that stride, but definitely like finding a good workflow and strike while the iron is hot is definitely a good approach to get stuff out there. I know I'm still backlogged all the way back until June. I'm still editing this Pennsylvania Survival Fest video along with End War and not to mention APOC and BPOC and all these other videos. So I haven't had the greatest workflow myself, but I'm working on that. But yeah, that's a great piece of advice. You have any other questions, Strife?
No, thank you. That really helped me. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
have a great day.
Let's see, where were we? We were just talking about the clubs and where else you play in. How do you think some of the other clubs differ from Mid Valley Nerf Club?
From what I've noticed, at least going from my area to these different areas like Corpus Christi Nerf, Tri-County Foam, even Hanu, it's mainly the age difference, I'll be honest. Like down here, at least where I live, I feel like we have to cultivate our Nerfers, like teach them while they're young and then raise them up in the hobby. Whereas every time I've gone to Corpus or Tri-County or what have you, it's already adults that are already interested in the hobby, and that's refreshing for me, for somebody who's had to like grow our own our own crop, so to speak. Yeah, it's really refreshing to play with adults that maybe they're not on the same level you are, but they're ready to play at that same level, or at least try to play at that same level.
Right. I am very interested, or I've been trying to get Jimmy Rohn as the guest, who is runs Tri-County, but he says he's camera shy, so maybe
he's very camera shy.
Yeah, so
I actually know Jimmy personally. I've flung foam at him a couple of times.
Get him to come on the show. So here's the $1 million question.
All right.
How did you get your name, BotsNBlasters?
Oof. Okay.
I almost feel like that should be the trivia question, but just go ahead and humor us with how.
Okay. Truthfully, 100% truthfully, it was from a bad relationship.
Oh no!
It's from a bad relationship. My ex at the time, we were in an argument. She made a comment that all I cared about was my BotsNBlasters. And I pulled a Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones, and now I wear it like a badge of honor, so it can't be used to hurt me.
There you go.
So if anybody's a Game of Thrones fan, that's a little bit of trivia there. But I kind of kept the name Bots in general because I'm big into Transformers, Gundam, stuff like that, and people in my club just call me Bots. Yeah, it just kind of stuck.
Gotcha. Well, Yeah, there's
It's not what
can
you were
always
expecting.
you can always learn and grow from your experience. Then I
Oh
guess
yeah.
everything's just a stepping stone and an opportunity to open another door, as you would say. So would you say that you prefer springers, flywheelers, ABs? Do you like 3D printed blasters better, injection molded? What would you say is your preference?
the right the right blaster is the blaster for the objective. Like I said before, um, I used to run exclusively flywheelers, but then you're having the problem, especially if you're brand new in an HVZ type of event, you're dumping all your ammo like that. So I started compromising. I started running something that was like a Rampage way back when. And I liked it because I had the Springer action, but I also had the Slam Fire if I needed the Slam Fire. And that kind of started my love affair with Springers, if I'm being honest.
Cool.
So,
And
yeah.
And what would you say are some of your favorite flywheel blasters then, I guess?
Oof. I'm really fond of my Mark III right now. I've put a lot of work into it. I don't have an Omnia yet, but I did have the privilege to mess around with one at Jared's Epic Blaster Battle. One of my fans had brought one. He's like, "Hey, have you reviewed this yet?" I'm like, "I haven't even gotten a hold of one." So I was able to mess around with that. I had a lot of fun with that. I know the Gen 2 just was released from Dart Zone, so hopefully I can get my hands on one.
Yeah.
And of course, the Strife is iconic. Anybody who's had a Strife and it's modded one, I mean, I know the Strife X is kind of a thing now, but I still like the original. But
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I will say that my Band Blaster Mark III with Ezekiel Rate of Fire kit is probably one of my top favorite 3 flywheel blasters, and I run it religiously to this day. And I also got the Omnia
nice.
first run, and it's funny, I have 2. One shoots straight, actually, which is surprising, or not, that's what we were expecting, it to shoot straight. But the other one does not, so I'm waiting for the replacement for that one, which should hopefully come soon. And I'm sure some of you have seen that Dart Zone just released their podcast today, announcing the Gen 2 should be available now, and hopefully the replacements will be coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. And if you are in the chat, go ahead and tell us what your favorite flywheel blaster is currently. Also, if you'd like to call in and ask Bots some questions, please feel free to do so with the number that is magically appearing below me now. There we go. Awesome. The
like
magic of a live stream. There we go. Abracadabra. And so since we talked about your favorite flywheelers, what would you say are some of your favorite springers that you like to use?
My favorite right now, I will, like, total transparency, the Unicorn. I've been using that and running that like everywhere, especially since, like I said, I've been traveling a lot. The Unicorn has been my favorite blaster because I can break it down entirely, take it with me, stick it in a backpack, so to speak. When I get wherever, I can whip it out. I can use it as a primary if I need to, use it as a secondary, depending on objective. It does everything I need it to do. And on top of that, I can upgrade it because almost everything in there is metal. Well, especially now with the Outer Darts metal pusher stuff. I haven't gotten that yet, but it's on my Christmas list.
Sure. Have you got a chance to try the Seagull yet?
Yes, I have. I liked it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Just I prefer the Unicorn more.
I was going to say, how would you compare it to the Unicorn?
Performance-wise, they're about the same stock. Sure. The Unicorn is smaller. That's all I'll say in that. Like, the one in my mind isn't better than the other aside from storage and space. I would still prefer the Unicorn in CQB as opposed to the Seagull. It's not quite as small as I would like.
Sure. Yeah, I have a Unicorn as well, and it's a fantastic blaster. It just feels good and solid. It's pretty fantastic for sure, and it does, like what you said, pretty comparable to the Seagull itself. So highly recommend if you've not gotten a chance to try the Unicorn, definitely try it out. And since we're talking about springers, what is your, if you're in the live chat, what is your favorite springer that you are currently using, or what are some of your favorite springers that you're using now, or just in general? Also, again, feel free to call in. we'd love to have you talk to bots and ask some questions. But until then, we'll move on. Let's talk about content creation. Talk
Nice.
about let's see. Talk about how you got into content creation, why you created Bots and Blasters channel, and how that kind of evolved over time.
Well, let me see. Not to sound like a sob story, but when the pandemic hit, my job site closed and I was forced into retirement. So I found myself with a lot of money, but nothing to do with my time. And I'm a type of person that I like to be busy. I can't just be, just sedentary, just doing nothing. I always like to stay busy, like to stay active, like to stay productive. And to be blunt, I got depressed. I got very depressed when that happened. I know it was a bad time for everybody. But my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we had to sit down and she's like, well, what do you want to do? You don't have to kill yourself with work anymore. What is it that you want to do that makes you happy? And instantly I thought back to, when I was the happiest, which was when I was flinging foam. And she goes, well, do you want to try to pursue that? And I said, you know what? Yeah, why not? I think I can do it. I mean, I don't need the money, at least not at the moment. I'm just doing it for fun. So I'm not trying to get rich off YouTube. I'm just trying to keep myself engaged, entertained, but also make content that I enjoy and that hopefully other people will enjoy too.
Sure. And then within that, what type of content are you creating? I know in your introduction you have collector and historian. Is that kind of what you try to focus on? Is that your approach?
Sort of. Actually, funny to go back to the MVNC, I got the title of historian from my group because people would bring a blaster and they'd be like, I don't know what this is. And I'd be like, oh, that's a Busby Sentinel, Ultratech line, da-da-da-da-da. And they'd be like, wow, you're like a historian for this.
Right. So
I kind of like claimed that title because it was presented to me. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, generally, I've started changing the term historian to focus more on the hobby in general. I did have a good friend that passed away. He was stationed in Afghanistan. He didn't make it back. And to kind of like honor his memory, I kept, I guess, like a lineage, if that makes any sense, of like all the foam flingers we've had within our group. Kind of like, so, they won't be forgotten, so to speak, if we have, further events and stuff. And I started thinking about that and looking back on people in the hobby that have come and gone, not like in a grim way, but, just content creators we haven't seen for a while. I mean, right away, what comes to my mind is somebody like Captain Slug, who I know he's still around, but he's kind of stepped out of the main light. And I feel like somebody like Silly Butts is kind of just like, he's kind of like synergized into that space. that space of creativity and innovation that that we used to see. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just refreshing to see in the hobby.
Absolutely. And then as a collector, I mean, well, first of all, how do you have all the knowledge of all these blasters? How do you keep track of that? Like, how do you have all this knowledge of all these blasters?
Oof. Okay. Well, that's a tough one. Because I'm going to say something not a lot of people want to hear, which is I read a lot. But in all seriousness, I read a lot of things. Like there was a book that came out, I think 2005, which was the Nerf Ultimate Blaster Guide. I'm sorry, the Nerf Ultimate Blaster book, which had all the blasters from In-Strike and even pre-In-Strike all the way up to, I think, Zombie Strike. And then, of course, when Luke released his Ultimate Blaster Modification book, just reading that. And, of course, learning the tools of the trade, so to speak, but also absorbing the knowledge that's kind of like just been passed around, learning like who's who in the hobby and, these different blasters, like why they perform the way they perform and stuff. And to be blunt, it's just been the community in general. My fans that they'll shoot out ideas to me. They'll be like, hey, did you hear about this? And then I'll be like, no, I did not hear about that. Thank you for telling me.
Right.
But yeah, it's more about, I guess, paying attention to trends, but also on the opposite side of the coin is paying attention to what people aren't paying attention to, because that might be just as important.
Sure, absolutely. What would you say is the biggest change from from early blasters to where we are now? Like, what would you say the biggest evolution has been?
I've seen a lot more discardability of blasters. And what I mean by that is, in the old days, you used to get something like a Rampage, a Retaliator, a Strong Arm, whatever, and you would mod it, you'd buy new kits, keep the same blaster, you break a piece, keep the same blaster, whatever. And nowadays, it's more like, I noticed it very obviously with the Worker Harrier. Harrier came out within that short amount of time. I think the Guardsman Mark IV came out, and people were like, throw the Harriers, get the Mark IV, and then Seagull came out, throw the Mark IV, get the Seagull, and it's kind of like, dude, don't you have any love for your blasters?
Right.
And it's like, no, it's just something that goes pew pew. And maybe that's just me. That's my old man talking, but we used to have like a real attachment to the blaster you're using because you put so much work into it. And I guess I just don't see that anymore. Or maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. I'll say honestly, maybe I'm looking in the wrong places. But I don't see that attachment anymore that we used to have in the old days.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is, there's so many options now, and what's the newest and brightest and shiniest new toy that you can get. But, I will say the first blaster I built or, that I really loved was the Caliburn. We were just talking about Captain Slug, the Caliburn. And, then you get, the Nexus came out and, the Harrier and all these other blasters. But, I just ended up using that Caliburn for the first time in probably like, I don't know, over at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, few years it's been, and fell in love with it all over again. So there's always that. But yeah, I think we're in that state where there's so many options that it's kind of hard to say no, but definitely there's no loyalty.
It's kind of almost like an overload, like an overstimulation, where it's like you don't have time to bond with a blaster anymore, if that makes any sense, because as soon as you start getting attached to it, it's like, oh no, wait, the new shiny came out.
Yeah.
I need that one if I want to be relevant.
Right. So if you're watching on the live stream and down in the chat, if you want to comment, what really was your first blaster that you were attached to? I'd love to know what that was. So go ahead and comment. Also, friendly reminder, please share this live stream and just the World Foam Alliance in general to all your friends and family. Don't forget to hit that like button, and also don't forget to subscribe, and also join the worldfoamalliance.org website registration and our Discord. And at this point, if you'd also like to call in and ask bots some questions, we will flash the number again on the screen for you. But yeah, I think also I'd like to play some B-roll clips of some club play, just so since we're talking about content creation or whatever we got queued up. So what are we looking at here?
This is footage that was shot by my friend Dr. J, the one that moved to Washington. This is over there in Tri-County Foam. They're doing a 5v5v5 capture the flag, and this play area is very unique because it's essentially an abandoned parking lot that the club has access to, and there's not a lot of barriers there. So they got really creative and just started parking vehicles to act as cover. And I felt, when I saw this, when they shared that footage with me, I was like, dude, that's awesome. That's very creative. I know most people, they would show up to a Nerf event and let's say they didn't have any cover for whatever reason. They'd be like, well, I guess party's over. And they're like, no, party's not over. We're going to get creative. We're going to use our minds, and make it happen. And right here, they're doing a medic round. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen Jade with Foamdemic with their blaster battles up in Massachusetts. I've seen them use car cover. My concern has always been, when you start playing at that 300 FPS level, is your car going to be able to handle that? So
that's true. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, going back to content creation. you also, we talked about you being a historian, but you're also a collector. So talk about being a collector and what you look for when collecting.
Well, basically, I mean, the main things I focus for, basically the main things I focus on in regards to collecting is variants, the different variants. I mean, I think we all do, but the different variants, but also a blaster that I've never seen before. Because the main thing that I love about the hobby is I'm always discovering something new. And me, somebody who's been in the hobby a long time, but only recently made a channel, I'm still coming across stuff that people either haven't discovered or they've never thought of new ways to utilize. So, I mean, that's always the thrill of the hunt for me, you know, discovering something that somebody hasn't thought to utilize in a certain way. I know, especially with the, what is it, the Gobzooka. When the Gobzooka came out, we found out that that was perfect for firing Mega XL, like 300 FPS downrange.
Right. What are some of the best things that you've collected, would you say?
Oof. Before I started a channel, I did collect an Ertl. If anybody's really old school, they know what an Ertl is, the ETRL. That was a very rare, exciting find for me. I also got, you know, some of the Sonic series, like the Sonic Ice, Sonic, I guess the Sonic Green variant. I forget what the official term for it is, but yeah, just like getting all the different variants, all the different designs. That's always like the thrill of the hunt for me. I think actively right now, I'm currently trying to hunt down a Revoltinator, but a Revoltinator in box from the Zombie Strike line. Not loose in box.
Very cool. Question: do you have one of those elusive blue Nexus Pros?
No, I don't. That's one of the ones I've been bugging some people that do have it for. Like, hey, are you willing to part with it for set amount of money?
Yeah, I have mine locked in a vault. It lives there now. So yeah. So
I'm jealous. Officially, let it be known I'm jealous.
So let's if anyone's interested in calling in and asking questions to bots, well, actually, you're gonna have to, because now we are gonna be doing our giveaway trivia question, and we are doing a new approach. You guys will be asked a question. We haven't mentioned or given any hints regarding what the question is. You're just going to have to call in and figure out what the answer is. So, so the first one to call in at the number that is listed below will win a free T-shirt and also some stickers from Bots. And the question is going to be, what was the blaster that got Bots into the hobby? And we did, like I said, we didn't mention it, but if you want to take a stab, take a guess at it, go ahead and give us a call, and we'll let you know if you are correct. And after a few callers, we will provide some more additional hints to the answer. And at this time, I'd also like to mention and promote the World Foam Alliance live streaming for charity stream that we will be doing on December 9th. It's going to be a 24-hour live stream with all your favorite foam flinging personalities, including Captain Xavier, Al. We have the guys from Singapore, Piggy and Gavin. We have Monkeytron Collective. We're going to have Archer the Nerfer with Women of Nerf. We got, I know I'm not even beginning to scratch the surface. We got Spectre from the UK, and if you know anyone else that's going to be on that stream, go ahead and comment that down in the live section so I can give some shout outs to that. But it's going to be a great live stream, 24 hours, anywhere from half hour to 1 hour segments with different hosts. Boomstick Mods, there we go. So we'd love to have you guys join in that 24-hour period. We'll be doing raffles and giveaways and prizes, so it should be a lot of fun. So mark that down on your calendar for December 9th. 24-hour live stream, charity giveaway, and we will be raising money for Toys for Tots. So it definitely will be a worthwhile goal for everyone. So we hope you can join us for that. So do we have a caller? No caller in. No one wants to take a stab at it yet. So we do have a caller. All right. You can't win if you don't play. So we have a first caller. Caller, what was the first blaster that got bots into the hobby? Go ahead. First of all, who do we have?
Lonely again.
First of all, who do we have?
Again, it's Danny again. It's Danny again.
Oh, Danny. Okay.
I gotta take a stab at it. I'm gonna say the ubiquitous. I can't even speak. The Maverick.
The Maverick.
Close, but no cigar. No.
That was a good guess. Feel free to call back and try again. So
it was close. It was close. Yeah.
We have another caller.
This is Samson7180.
Ooh, Samson. He's one of the. Samson is the mod for the Corpus Christi Nerf group.
Ah, okay. Does that mean?
I called last week. Yeah.
Does that mean you have some insight, or?
I should hope so.
No, I'm not going to try this time. I'm going to let someone else win. But I did have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll take a question.
All right. So bots, and you probably already know this question. I probably asked you this at our wars, but in a sense of competitive play, what's your play style? Is it sniping from afar? Are you dart speed softening? What's your favorite type? Is it a bit of both? Like, what's going on? Give us the insight. Give us the loop.
It's always been competitive, but to objective. So, for example, if I can trust that my teammates are going to push the objective, I don't mind going out there and being aggro on people that I need to suppress or flush out of a position or whatever the situation is. I can pick up the slack when my team doesn't have anybody to fill a specific role. But yeah, generally I like to play to objective regardless of whatever the objective is. So for example, I may not be the fastest runner, but I can definitely clear a path for my runner to get in there and out of there if it's capture the flag, for example. I may not be the sharpest shooter, but I can definitely close enough of a gap between, whatever my marksman is between the enemy team's marksman to at least flank them and keep them distracted so they can make that shot. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Now He's going to know how to attack me.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I'll just revive you like 10 times like we did in our meta games. It's fine. It's fine.
It's true.
It's all good. All right. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you. Have you guys played Flag Dash out in Flag Dash 5v5 competitive Flag Dash? Basically flag push.
I don't think I have. If it's very similar to like Ion Rush, we have played Ion Rush, or at least a variation of it. Yeah.
All right. Very cool. We have another caller. All right. So we are going to give a hint. Bots, let's give them a hint.
Okay. It was nothing elite. It was from the original N-Strike line.
That's a good hint. From the original N-Strike line is the hint for what was the first blaster that got bots to fall in love with the hobby.
I could give one more hint, but that would give it all away.
We'll save that one. So if you have any guesses, please go ahead and call in and give it your best shot. You can't win if you don't play. Your prize will be a World Foam Alliance t-shirt as well as some stickers from bots. So while we wait for our next caller to call in, we got to get a winner, guys. So you guys need to call in.
Someone's got to win tonight.
Yeah. What you kind of mentioned this before with workflow, but what are some other helpful tips that you can provide as far as content creation goes? And before we get into that, we'll take the caller. We have a caller, so
nice.
Caller, hello. Who do we have?
All right, man. Nobody's taking a stab at it. So
all right, we got Danny
again. Man, I'm wavering between the two. I'm gonna say the barrel break.
Oof, that's a good one, but no.
Good try. Good try. Anyone else? Do we have anyone else? All right, we will give another hint. Bots, what do we got?
Okay. It's a blaster that uses batteries, but it's not a flywheeler.
Ooh. It is a blaster that uses batteries, but it is not a flywheeler, and it is end strike. What could it be?
That
If you think you know, go ahead and call in
away.
on the number. First caller to call in with the correct answer will win the prize. And while we wait, we'll go back to the question we were going to answer. What are some tips that you can give to anyone that's interested in becoming a content creator or doing content creation?
Well, let me see. When it comes to content creation, I would tell you probably the best thing is like a serious talk with yourself, which is what are the goals that you want to accomplish with your channel? Because I'm pretty sure everyone's like, I want to get rich off YouTube. That's everybody's dream. The rude awakening is that's probably not going to happen. And it's not to be disrespectful. It's just I found that if you curb your expectations and you attack smaller goals, like I want to get to 100 subs, I want to get to 500 subs, I want to make 100 videos, I want to make 1 video a day for the week of November, whatever. If you can accomplish your realistic goals, then everything else kind of starts flowing into place. Let me see. Ooh. Let me see. You should also be making content that you're passionate about. I kind of said this earlier, but I'll reiterate it. Like, you can't get caught up chasing the latest and greatest blasters. I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to call anybody out because I have nothing but love for everybody in the hobby, but I've seen people go bankrupt trying to buy the new blaster that came out because they have to have it. And it's not good for your bank. It's not good for your pocketbook. All because they're trying to milk that algorithm.
And do you think having a specific subject matter helps, or is it okay to have kind of float around and have gameplay or reviews and all on the same channel? Or do you think you should just focus on having reviews or just focus on having gameplay or recap videos? What do you think about that?
I'm going to say at the end of the day, here's a hot take for everybody. At the end of the day, the content doesn't matter. What matters is the personality. And if you don't have a very likable personality, not that I'm calling anybody out, of course. In other words, if you're not confident and passionate about what you're saying, people will see that and they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to watch this guy's footage. I'm not going to watch this guy's 13 videos. I'm not going to watch this guy's mod videos. Because once your viewers start knowing you as a person, you can put out almost anything and they're going to watch it, within relevance to the hobby, of course, almost anything.
Sure.
But generally it does help to stick to like your niches. For example, like you want to do Nerf thrifting, go for it. If you want to do war footage, go for it. It's whatever you feel the most excited and passionate about.
Sure, that's fantastic. So we have what, seven plus callers?
Ooh.
How many? 4 callers now. Okay, we have 4 callers, which is pretty good. Go ahead, caller number 1. Who do we have? Hello.
Oh, hey, I got picked. I'm Metalsuck. I was chatting with BotsNBlasters earlier, so something. I'm here to take a stab at the question or something. First,
take a stabber.
Stab me. Let's go.
Okay.
Stab away.
Just like 3 of those, or 3 or 4. I'm just gonna go take a wild guess and say barricade or something.
Ooh, that's close, but barricade was a flywheeler.
No, that's not.
Nope.
That's
Get off my lawn. We'll take the next caller. Hello. Who do we have?
This is Insane Weasel from South Florida. So if if my research is correct with all your hints, I'm going to take a stab at the question. But it has to be the Nerf Elite Firefly. Final answer.
Final answer?
Wow. Well, you know what?
Final answer.
I hate to say it, but you're absolutely right. It was the Firefly.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner.
Let's go.
All right.
The Firefly was a blaster that my old club member had brought to me. He had taken apart, didn't know how to put it back together. So I helped him put it back together. And he got confused because of the wiring, which is funny because the wiring isn't pivotal to the function, but it does make that fun flash gimmick.
Awesome. So are you caller, what was your name again? I'm so sorry.
You can find me on @InsaneBuizel on the WFA Discord server. So
Awesome.
you can just DM me and I'll just send you the details of like my shipping address and things like that.
Awesome. Do me a favor, either
Okay,
DM myself or Bots with your mailing info, and we will get your prizes out to you as soon as possible.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Get off the lawn.
All right. Rock on. All right. So we already did declared our winner, but we still have 2 callers. So maybe they have a question. So let's take our next caller. Hello. Hello.
Yeah. Bots, what's your favorite blaster?
Favorite is subjective. Favorite is subjective because it depends on what game I'm going to. But if you're talking about the one that I'm enjoying the most lately, the Unicorn. Like I said earlier, the Unicorn has everything about that blaster. It screams perfection to me.
The Unicorn is a bad boy. Excellent. Thank you for calling. And I think we have one more caller now again. So let's take that call. Oh, apparently we don't anymore. So no worries. So congratulations to our winner. Like I said, go ahead and DM either myself or Bots for your mailing info, and we'll get your prize to you as soon as possible. Bots, let's talk about your podcast, Foam After Dark. Tell us a little bit about Foam After Dark, how that came about, how you created it, and what it's all about.
Okay, Foam After Dark. Ooh, okay, that's my fun little experiment on Twitch.tv. It's actually not on YouTube. And the reason for that is because it's my personal view of the YouTube platform, and I have nothing against YouTube. I love YouTube. It's great for what it does, which is making videos. But sometimes if you live stream on it, it does tank your algorithm unless you're doing a completely separate account just for live streaming. So we decided to kind of try streaming on Twitch because the only people I knew that were streaming on Twitch that were somewhat Nerf related was KT from Family Foam Sport and I think Vile Mods. Those are the only 2 people that I knew of that were actively doing things on Twitch that were Nerf or foam related. And I found that it works great there. The interactivity, there's so many buttons as a host that you can play and mess around with to keep your chat engaged and stuff. But the general premise for it is essentially the war's over, the Nerf war's over, you're still with your buddies, you're hanging out, you still have that adrenaline pumping, or maybe you're too exhausted to drive, so you need to chill for a bit. So you're all either having a cup of coffee, or maybe you're drinking some water because you need to hydrate, or maybe you're drinking something a little bit stronger because you have some aches and pains. But at the end of the day, you're still just chilling and talking about foam, and that's the basic gist behind the podcast, Foam After Dark. It's foam, but after dark.
Cool. And what are some of the topic discussions that you have and some of the guests that you've had?
Oof, we've had a lot of guests.
I know.
See, we've talked to, our first guest was Basic Nerf. We talked about, I think it was Armageddon when Armageddon happened, which I was a little upset at because I had just decided I wasn't going to go on any trips because I was moving. And then he announced it and I was like, oh, man. See, we had Ness and Contra on, talk about APOC and BPOC respectively. Let me see, we also had Kyle and Lance to talk about Mutation Madness, how they do things. I've also had a couple of friends like Grim Reaper 2458, who is a great integration artist in regards to blaster design. If you have not looked at Grim Reaper stuff, I will plug him here. Go check him out, Grim Reaper 2458. He does amazing integration work. He's the last of what I view as like a dying artist in that integration hobby space, or I guess like side little hobby space. Let me see, who else have we had? We actually are planning to have Brad, the late great American Foam. Hopefully it's upcoming Monday. If his work schedule pans out, we should have him as a guest. But more importantly, my co-host is Mr. Blaster at Arms, who is a member of HANU, and he's one of the original founding members of Space City Foam. And when we both found out we were in Texas, we're like, dude, we have to we have to work together on this. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty chill. It's like if you want the perspective of regular guys from Texas talking about the hobby, but also more importantly, talking about what the hobby can be in regards to Texas. Because, East Coast always has APOC, West Coast always has Armageddon. So maybe there's something coming in 2024. Maybe I don't want to say too much because we're still trying to get a venue.
Ooh, exciting. Very cool. And is it just on Twitch, or do you post it up on Spotify or anything like that?
It is live on Twitch, and that's when you can interact with us directly, interact with our guests. However, I do upload it to YouTube, so you can find it on YouTube, but the audio segments, of course, are posted on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, pretty much anywhere that you can find podcasts. You should be able to find Foam After Dark.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that's one thing that the hobby is lacking a little bit is some foam flinging podcasts. We have Dart Jam, we have 5 Minute Respawn, and Detroit Dart Talk, and Foam After Dark. But there's really not too much else that is available. I know Archer the Nerfer, Women of Nerf, is going to be doing a podcast pretty soon, but that's that's a unsaturated market, I would say. I would say so. That's very cool. Where do you see the podcast headed towards and evolving over time?
Let me see. Hopefully, it's only going to grow and get bigger. Ideally, what we have talked about is actually the people we talked about was Kyle and Lance about possibly in the future doing like a live Foam After Dark at Mutation Madness, but cool. I guess kind of do it like in character, if that makes any sense. Like we were like maybe like newscasters at the mall or something.
Oh, that would be fun.
Stuff was happening. I don't know. We talked about that briefly, but yeah. We definitely want to travel more, go more like on the road and stuff. At least I do. I can't speak for, my co-host, but I definitely have that desire too.
Sure. And what events have you attended? I think we mentioned one, but yeah.
See, okay, when regards to my events, that's a tough one. I mean, aside from local wars and I travel like all over Texas, the last major event I went to was Jared's Epic Blaster Battle 8 up in Dallas, mainly because we already had tickets. That was already actually when we were packing for the move, but I was like, hey, I can't get the money back, so we're going to go to this thing. I got to hang out with Brad for a little bit. I got to hang out with Drac. I got to see Dr. Flux and Luchasaur. I say see because they were swarmed by a bunch of kids, so I just like waved at them from a distance.
Very cool. Spoiler alert, I forgot to mention as we were mentioning who was going to be on that 24-hour live stream, that we also will be having Brad from American Foam on that 24-hour live stream. So definitely check the schedule and get your chance to get some more American Foam while you can. Also, I should have mentioned it, but we are also having BotsNBlasters as one of the hosts for that as well. So that should be exciting. And also, we just got Griever, Lionheart Customs. So that should be a lot of fun for everyone that is able to tune in and watch. Friendly reminder that Get Off My Lawn, next episode will be airing next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Al the Geek, Captain Xavier, and their special guest is going to be Maritime Foam, as long as Maritime Foam isn't called away for other obligations this time, hopefully, and you won't have to have me fill in and see my mug again. So tune into the next episode of Get Off My Lawn next Wednesday at 8 p.m. So we are getting close to that time. Where, just to wrap up, and we'll do some closing remarks, but where do you see yourself and the hobby in the near future and in the distant future?
Well, obviously, like I said before, I'm still going to be here making content because I got nothing but time. So I'm going to make the most of it. Like I said, I enjoy making the content and I enjoy putting it out there. But more importantly, what I really want to do and what I really think is a really untapped market for, I guess, our hobby space is travel vlogs. And I want to start tapping into that more. It's like, hey, I'm going here. I'm meeting these people. These people are hosting me up so we can go to their wars. Here's who they are. Here's who's running the event. Here's how they run things here. I think that's an untapped market, like at least algorithm-wise, because people love to see travel content, and they also love to see foam content. So just put them together. That's what I want to do. I have the goal of going to every club that I can in Texas, and I'm going to meet you guys, and we're going to network. We're going to get it all together because, like I said, in 2024, something crazy might happen, and I want to have not just as many Texans there as possible, but as many foam flingers there as possible.
Sure, absolutely. Well, you know what would be a great opportunity for a travel vlog is if you come to Maryland Mayhem in April of 2024.
I'll sincerely try, like 100%.
Awesome.
I will sincerely try.
And we will make our effort to come to this unannounced event down in Texas, which would be awesome. So we're about at that time. I want to thank everyone for joining in for this week's episode of the Foam Zone. Bots, where can people find you?
Well, of course, I'm BotsNBlasters on YouTube, which we are on right now. I'm also on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I'm BotsNBlasters YT on Instagram. That's a weird situation that happened, but aside from that, everywhere else, BotsNBlasters.
Cool. And then when does Foam After Dark? We're Foam Zone. When does Foam After Dark air?
Foam After Dark airs every Monday night on twitch.tv/BotsNBlasters. We go live around 8:30 p.m. ish. I say ish because we always do sound checks, etc. Make sure everyone's sounding good. But yeah, we're live, and of course, if you miss us, I always try to upload the next day on YouTube, so you'll be able to catch it there, but it's not live, so you kind of miss the interactivity. It's still fun regardless.
For sure. Well, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the Foam Zone. I really appreciate your time. Definitely going to look forward to your to YouTube videos and catching some more of the live streams, and also looking forward to having you as one of the hosts for the charity live stream that we'll be doing with the World Foam Alliance. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Closing remarks? Anything you'd like to say?
The only thing I will tell you is a little bit of some life advice, which is remember, guys, life is short. So if you're not having fun with what you're doing, why are you doing it? Try to have fun with life because it's short, guys.
Facts. Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you so much for everyone that was able to join us here on the Foam Zone. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I don't have the date on hand, but our next guest will be Archer with Women of Nerf, and we'll be discussing everything from women and females being in the hobby, also to we'll be discussing competitive and HVZ play, so it should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys can join in for that. Otherwise, next Wednesday will be another episode of Get Off My Lawn, Captain Xavier and Al the Geek with Maritime Foam, so definitely tune in for that. And once again, don't forget to like and subscribe, register on the worldfoamalliance.org website, and join the Discord. And yeah, that is pretty much it until the next time on the Foam Zone. Don't forget to dart sweep. It looks like I have a light that went out.